Hey everyone, it's Mr. Pudquist from Heavy Ammo Unbound, and today I want to talk about potentially one of the most controversial things about Call of Duty Cold War. So if you didn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't, the streak system was changed in this game. Instead of streaks resetting when dying, you get to keep your progress throughout the entire match. They basically took the support streak system from MW3 and gave it to everyone automatically. Lots of people were not very excited about this, honestly, including me at first. I mean, thinking back to Black Ops 4, one of my biggest grievances, personally, was how the streaks worked in that game. Not only were they MW2 levels of lethal, they were also incredibly hard to take out, especially as a solo player. It took 4 rockets to take down a sniper's nest, all the while getting insta-kill off spawn basically every 2 seconds. And you're probably thinking, oh, that doesn't sound too bad. The problem is you can only carry 3 rockets if you're not using any attachments, and there's a highly likely chance that your rocket, that has a lock-on feature that also takes 10 years to lock by the way, will just fly right past the streak, or not even be able to hit it, referencing the Thresher. It was so infuriating that I had to become a Zero main for basically the entirety of Black Ops 4. And I could go on about how fucking dumb Zero's abilities were too, like the fact you can steal other people's streaks for free, or the fact that something as needed as an EMP in that game was locked behind one character, but that is not the point of this commentary. Anyways, streaks in that game were so terrible to deal with that when I heard them say streaks don't reset on death during the Cold War reveal, I had basically non-flashbacks to all the pain I went through during the BO4 year. And as you can see in this commentary, BO4 really, truly scarred me. Luckily that fear went away from me after watching most people play the game and getting to play it a little bit myself this past weekend. And honestly, I think this might be actually an amazing update to the streak system in COD. I do want to preface his opinion right quick before we continue. This is obviously subjective, and if you hate how the streak system was changed, that's fine. I'm not in love with it, as I can see it being abused if either more lethal / sturdy streaks are in the game, or if we ever go back to the terrifying streaks of BO4. I just think it's a neat little change that doesn't seem to be too damaging to the game, and I would like to explain my opinion further. So the first thing I like about the Cold War streak system is how it kind of marries the score streak and kill streak system together. You see, in older CODs that had score streaks, getting some tiny streak like a UAV only costs like 600 points, but in a game of TDM or like other kill-focused game modes, that's like basically 5 to 6 kills, which is way too much for a gosh darn tiny plane that is most likely useless since most of the lobbies running around with Ghost / Ninja / Cold-Blooded / whatever the equivalent for that game was. It was always a pain and was honestly one of the reasons I think people started to sour on score streaks, even though they have a far superior system. Don't heckin' at me. However, in Cold War, when you begin to go on streaks, you get a bonus score for every kill in a row over 2. So instead of a UAV costing 5 to 6 kills, it finally goes back to the 3 to 4 kill reward it was always meant to be. This applies for bigger streaks too. I don't know how it was for actual good players, but for me, going for high score streaks was just kind of rough. Didn't really feel like I was actually progressing towards anything, unless I was playing the objective like a madman. But with this change, streaks retain the ease of earning while still supporting objective play. And speaking of objective play, this brings me to my next reason. So the point of playing Call of Duty multiplayer is to go on a streak. I mean, that's basically the thing that made COD stand out in the first place. And it helped it rocket to the top of the charts back in 2008 and 9. However, at least to me, that was kind of always a double-edged sword. With streaks in games like MW2, next came the selfishness. Camping in the back of the map with a noob tube just to get a free nuke. Every free-for-all lobby being infested with boosters, even years after that specific game's life cycle is over. Kill streaks were catered to these type of people and allowed them to thrive. When score streaks were introduced in BO2, there were obviously still people that played like this, but at least in my personal memory and experience, they started to show up less and less. Because while you could sit in top grandmas on standoff and snipe people running down mid all the way to a swarm, the SMG rusher flanking around the map and capping flags / hopping on hardpoint / collecting tags / planting bombs was always going to throw up a streak way faster and more efficiently than you, depending on skill level obviously. And these sweats, I use the term extremely loosely for BO2 pubs, helped make the public matches in BO2 feel way more competitive and fun to me. So what score streaks did was help make objective playing a viable playstyle. With this new system, in my eyes, it makes hero plays a viable playstyle. Before I continue, if you didn't know what a hero play was, it's basically another name for ego challenging, which is basically going into a situation where you're most likely going to die, but sets up an opportunity for you to pop off and look like a hero, thus the name. So in any past COD, if I was on a streak and was trying to recapture a dom flag or break a hardpoint, I would play extremely slow, probably crouch walking around corners and setting myself up in cheesy locations to make sure I could actually kill the people on the point, and if needed, recapture the point safely for extra score. And I would probably end up dying to some dude who sprints past me and quickscopes me instantly, tilting me for the rest of the game. However, with streaks not being reset on death, I can now push up and be as aggressive as I want, giving me the opportunity to make more hero plays. You could argue this leads to more brainless players earning streaks they don't deserve, but if you really think about it, what does deserving of streaks even mean? Like, does a person camping in a window, picking up tags and capping flags only when it's absolutely safe deserve the streak any more than a person running around like a headless chicken? Obviously this is all subjective and untested, but to me this should create more interesting matches with everyone caring a little bit less about streaks. I mean, to be fair, you still need to go on a streak if you ever want to get even close to the points needed for higher tier streaks, but that's beside the point. Also, for the people saying undeserved streaks, the anti-air system in Cold War seems at the moment to be very good, so even if Casual Carter gets a chopper gunner, it'll be gone before he can even rev up the minigun. Now there are arguments against this. For one example, on Wednesday's video where Shabs and I play our first game, we played Kill Confirmed on Miami and went to the time limit, which is a thing that for me at least only happens in slower paced IW games. But I believe this happened for a multitude of other reasons. That was about 1 hour after the launch of the alpha, so people were trying the game for the first time, and most average people do tend to play slower. Or maybe it was because Miami is a fairly large map compared to other CODs, and thus led to less gunfights and more time running around. Also kinda spinfoily, but still possible, it could be that an entire year of MW taught people that playing slower means better games, and we won't actually see a change in the player base until we're fully into the next game's life cycle. Most of those options feel reasonable to me, but feel free to disagree since we won't ever truly know what makes a COD kid tick. I also hope for the sake of competitive integrity that there is a way to disable this for the CDL, as having 4 players on each team have streaks all the time sounds about as fun as playing another year of MW. Basically, I think this will work better at allowing pub players to roam around the map more freely and play less like if they die in the game they die in real life. And personally, that's all I want. My favorite moments in COD are when I disregard my life and streak and run into a hardpoint hill/flag, popping 2 pieces left and right. If I don't get a streak out of it, that's fine with me, but some people have always wanted to try that chopper gunner in Swarm, and if they have even a chance to earn it by proficiently killing throughout the match, as opposed to getting lucky out of a care package or hiding for dear life after getting a 5 kill streak, then I say go for it. The biggest reason I'm a supporter of it is you still have to get 15 kills in a row, or like 10 kills and 4 flag caps, I don't know the exact numbers. Like they aren't giving that for free, and, I know I'm gonna regret saying this, I trust Treyarch to keep it balanced throughout the year so it never gets the BO4 special status. Anyways, this was something I just wanted to talk about and speculate on before I inevitably get disappointed by it when the full game launches. This whole commentary was obviously subjective, so if you love kill streaks and disagree with me, feel free to yell at my dirty casual ass. This is Punquist from Heavy Moonbound, signing out. I will see you guys next time.